I smile because I see that there was this little sign that said hold for potentially inappropriate things for children or whatever. And I always tell people that man and woman is ego. When we let our egos take over, then we feel that we know better and we know more and everything. And I'm guilty of that, just like everybody else. You know, a lot of times my ego takes over and I'm going, oh, I know this, I know that, and you're so stupid. And I'm wrong. And mark down that this is a good day to end it. I admitted being wrong sometimes. But I am wrong sometimes, and everyone's wrong sometimes. Now, when it becomes very apparent is how we live our lives and how we look at things. And I was reflecting today on a drive my wife and I took. We went to, I'm in Kansas, Overland Park, Kansas. And we went to Leavenworth, Kansas, where the big prison is and everything, the federal penitentiary, to see my sister, not in prison, but in the town. And she's a few years older. So I think she's 6 years older than me. So that would make her 73. And a very nice. Ice has been a very, very good sister. And all of my sisters have been pretty good. And several years ago, she was shot by a guy and lost a hand and the use of a leg. And she deals with this, you know, and she's in pain a lot. And so she deals with this every day. But not the point. On the way out there and on the way back, I noticed, you know, people speeding down the highway, going really, really fast. I mean, Pat, we were doing the speed limit of 70, and they were passing us like white lightning and cutting in and out and everything. And I was getting really riled up. And then today I kind of had time to sit in and consider why I was getting riled up. And I couldn't come up with a reason. It was how fast they were going or if they were cutting in and out. You know, they really weren't endangering us in any way other than just being stupid. You know, they were just going fast and they were decent drivers as far as, you know, not creating accidents or anything. Why was I angry? I couldn't come up with a reason. So I had to slap myself around a little bit and say, I shouldn't be angry about these things. This is not my business. And this is the problem with so many, many things in our world today is we stick our noses in where they don't belong, but we back off when we should be inputting things like opinions and things. You know, everyone's opinion counts, no matter how bad it is. Everyone has an opinion. And I won't continue with that little blurb, as y'all know the answer to it. Every opinions are like, and they all, you know, times. But even Trump has his opinion. As wrong as all of them have been, he has the right. Being president, don't agree. I just don't think that he was ever a healthy choice. I don't think anyone healthy choice. I don't think we need a king. All of us are pretty much idiots. And I think that in itself should be enough to say we need to reevaluate the way our country is run. I look at things like medical marijuana. It does an amazing job on a lot of people. It helps so many people and so many different diseases. It's been proven. I mean, it's medically proven. That's why it's called medical marijuana, you know. And of course, you can abuse anything. I mean, just like this false opioid crisis. You know, there is no opioid crisis. That's bullshit. That's something that Trump made up to take his everybody's mind off him doing other crappy stuff. But you know, there's a big crisis in more along the lines of heroin and crack than there is on opioids. You know, there's just not an opioid crisis. I'm sorry. You know, If you look at the population, 300, just in America, let's go, 325 million people, roughly, thereabouts. This is a very teeny tiny percentage to actually call it a crisis. I mean, more people than drunk drivers. Let's not jump to conclusions that everything that this idiot says or that even our government says is a truism, because it's not. You have to look at things, you have to research things, and then you can say, you know, hey, maybe they are your own brain. You got one. It's in here. Trust me. And they're all pretty good. Or you have to go with your heart and say, wait a minute, I need to think about this. Excuse me. And then think about it. Research it, come up with your own conclusions and deal with it on that level. Don't deal with it on someone else's level. Because once you do that, you're letting someone else tell you how to think. That's your deal. I'm just doing this for me. I'm doing this to hopefully educate some people who, on the other side of the spoon, don't have an education, don't have an opinion, and so they're drugged along by their noses like little piggy wigs and taught the wrong thing, taught the dumb stuff, and believe. People might not like what I say, but I never lie. I don't have a memory good enough to lie. And I say what I think. I say what I know. And there's a lot of people who can refute that. That's fine. I don't mind. But this is me. This is what I think. If you didn't think what I think fit you, you probably wouldn't watch me more than once, and then you'd go away, and that's okay. Anyway, back to the world in itself and what we've done and what we haven't done, and what the things that we haven't done. And I don't mean Trump in himself, but I mean us as a unit, a country. You know, when the flooding took place down south in Texas and that general area, Louisiana, and we ran down there with a wall to keep all the guys who bring in the drugs and the nasty stuff and the bad people. They're not coming over the border. They're digging under the border. There's tunnels there. And down there, seeing them when I was riding come in through different areas. You know, I mean, see ocean. You're going to protect your borders. You know, when the ocean's there, and the Trump's of putting the military down there is absolute. This guy is. We don't need a wall. We don't need the military. We need to. Our arms people who need the help, bring them in. We have plenty of land. There's millions of acres that are owned by the government that could be used for minor settlements and things for people who have been used and abused by the leaders of their various countries. And we should be helping out, not pushing away. What does that do? That makes us stronger. When people help, it makes them stronger. It makes them feel better about themselves. It gives them self-worth. And that self-worth makes you feel stronger. So rather than agreeing with this moron and saying, oh, we need a wall, say, we don't need a wall. We need to embrace. We need to show some love and some respect and some, genuine emotion and put ourselves in their shoes, And that was always one thing. My mom was kind of crazy, but I tell you what, she always said, if I was angry with another kid because of something he said or did, She'd say, well, you have to walk in his shoes. It was, and my father would say, it's an old Indian thing, American Indian, you can't judge them another. It makes them feel better about themselves. It gives them self-worth. And that self-worth makes you feel stronger. So rather than agreeing with this moron and saying, oh, we need a wall, say, we don't need a wall. We need to embrace. We need to show some love and some respect and some, genuine emotion and put ourselves in their shoes, And that was always one thing. My mom was kind of crazy, but I tell you what, she always said, if I was angry with another kid because of something he said or did, she'd say, well, you have to walk in his shoes. It was, and my father would say, it's an old Indian thing, American Indian, you can't judge another man until you've walked in his moccasins. And it's stuck with me, and it's a truism. You don't know what these people have gone through to get away from, or what they're trying to get away from. None of us has known that horror of being sprayed with gasoline and set on fire, or chemicals that melt our skin and damage our kids and blind them. Think about that. I mean, oh my God. And I do mean my God, that's a horrible thing. And then people go, oh, well, God could stop it if he wanted to. Doesn't have anything to do with God. You can pray to God, beg him, pray to him to stop it. But we have free will. That was the deal, free will. But we need to use that will. We need to use that gift and say, we've had enough. Let these people in. Let's get them away from those morons and those tyrants and those torturers and users of children and women and killers of men and boys. Let's get them away from that. Let's bring them here so they can have a life and save their spirits, and everything that's about them should be, we should be humanitarians and care enough about them because we've never walked in their shoes. It's happening. And it's like this. We need to do this much. We need to open arms, and we need to embrace these people and help them out, get them out of there. No matter what. I don't care if they're a Mexican baker and he's under oppression because of the government to pay more money. Let him in. We can always use another baker. So that's it for the day. It's a Monday, and everybody's off to work today. And if you're not working, then you're kind of like me probably, and retired already, and have nothing better to do than to yap your opinion of people. But that's me. And like I said before, I hope you like this. I hope you like what I say. I'd like to hear from more of you. If you get the chance, leave me a message and just let me know what's going on in your life. And I also am a great listener. So I'm always here. Thank you. Have a wonderful day. See you later. And the stream thing ready to go.